How's it going, guys? CrackedRack here, and today I have the most requested story on my channel here for you all today. I've been hyping this one for a while. So as you know, I'm a bit retarded at working a 9-to-5 job, as evident by the fact that I've been fired from 8 different jobs in my life. Though of all the jobs I've ever been fired from, Taco Bell was the most pathetic one to get fired from, because do you know what the fucking qualifications of working at Taco Bell are? I shit you not, there was legitimately a retarded man working there who required a diaper at all times who was doing far better than me at Taco Bell. Now, this story takes place not too long ago, just a year ago when I had just turned 18. I was living with my dear brother and he required I get a job immediately as I was living with him temporarily so I could find a place to live that was cool in Portland, Oregon. And the only place that was really hiring near me at the time was a Taco Bell. So I applied there. Did a phone interview the next day, and then did some weird in-person interview the day after that, and it wasn't until my first day of actually working there that they revealed to me that I wasn't going to be working at the Taco Bell I interviewed at. I was actually going to be working at a Taco Bell on 82nd Street, which is the ghetto, that was owned and worked at almost exclusively by this extremely Hispanic and Catholic family that didn't speak a lick of English. And yes, there was a culture clash between me and them instantly. They did not train me at all, so my first day was legitimately just me awkwardly standing in the fucking kitchen while these 8 hardcore Mexicans craft burritos at an alarmingly fast rate before my very eyes. And when I did get a little bit of training and got familiar with the staff, they didn't even make an effort to speak English a little bit to help me out. Like, once I was at the drive-thru and the cash register for whatever reason was ringing up a $15 order as a $150 order, and I frantically asked for help from one of the employees who was staring at me by asking, "Hey man, can you please help me with the cash register? It's acting up." And he responded with,
"No puedo ayudarte, lo siento."
Like, what the fuck does that mean? How is that gonna help me at all? Then he walked away. So yeah, I didn't get along too good with any of the staff. They never really helped me out with anything, and I just felt like a burden on them. I was also so shit at crafting food. I don't know if you know this about me, but I am the fucking worst chef of all time. I genuinely think a paraplegic 5-year-old could make a better burrito than me. However, one day I did manage to get in a bit of hot water with the managers. So one fateful day, I'd say maybe 2 weeks after I had started working there, I realized I forgot my pack of cigarettes at home. And I was a really heavy smoker, but I was only 18 and I was in Oregon, and you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes in Oregon. So I asked one of the employees if I could borrow their nicotine vape pen. One of them, who didn't speak English very good at all, but was a pretty nice person, managed to understand what I was asking and handed me his vape pen. Now, the pen looked very normal. It was sleek, black, didn't have any logos on it, and the oil in the cartridge was a golden brown, which is what I'm normally used to with my vape pens when I sometimes do indulge in the habit. So all was really fun, and I was outside smoking this vape pen, just chilling out on my break, checking Instagram. I maybe took like 30 or 40 little hits of this thing in rapid succession before I looked at the bottom of the vape pen, which happened to have a green weed leaf warning on it. And that's when I realized this was an intense weed vape that I had been puffing on consistently for the better half of 20 minutes. And after further inspection, it wasn't just any weed vape. It was a dab pen with a 90% THC cartridge in it, as it stated in extremely small text at the bottom of the vape. Turns out nicotine oil happens to look a whole lot like dab oil. Now, I started losing my shit because I had just vaped like 20 times the recommended amount, and it was lunch hour, and my shift was starting again in 5 fucking minutes. And yes, I felt it. This was the highest I had ever been in my entire life, and I've eaten a lot of edibles in my day. So I clocked back in, handed the pen back to my coworker who was just about to leave, so I didn't even get any support through this, and I started to take orders at the front counter. Some motherfucker with his stupid little shit kids came up to the front and started ordering this massive order. At least it was massive in my head. And I was in like this weird state of mental bliss. I was like completely dissociated but still working at the same time, so I didn't feel any anxiety in taking his order like I thought I would, but there was a reason for that. So after like 3 minutes of ordering, he gave me his name and it was super complicated, so I was like, what? How about I just put the number 2 as your name? And he was like, excuse me? Because he was apparently like a regular and actually family members with the fucking manager. And then he asked me to read back his order, and I did, and it was completely wrong. He ordered like, what was it, like 2 Gordita Crunches, an Icy, and a burrito. I, on the other hand, rang up 5 Crunch Wraps, 6 tacos, 3 Gorditas, and a fucking metric shit ton of nachos. And he was pissed. The total order was like $70, and he said he wanted to speak to my manager, so I told him he had nothing to worry about, and instead sent the order for number 2 through anyway, and they started making it. This caused him to get fucking furious and loud. He wanted to speak to my manager immediately. He also asked if I was stupid, which I was. So my manager heard this ruckus, came out to the front, and holy shit, they were apparently cousins and knew each other very well. So I was pretty screwed in my defense. And that's when my manager pulled me into his office and told me that after my 2-week trial run of working there, I was no longer needed. And yeah, that's the story of how I got fired from Taco Bell. This is kind of a short video, but there's not a whole lot to talk about. This is genuinely the shortest length I've ever had a job in my life. The moral of the story is don't do drugs at work, because you'll probably lose your job.